The Pivot Killer is the newest expert advisor developed by Mr. Pablo. Today I'm excited to dive in to see what the strategy behind this bot is and if it can be a good addition to our portfolios. So Pablo is best known as the developer of the Wall Street Killer, and the thing I like about his bots more broadly is that he tends to make more price action based systems. So particularly like when I develop technical bots, I prefer this style as well, where you're not relying heavily on indicators or oscillators, and instead are usually using a breakout-based system or some sort of system that relies heavily on pending orders or times. And the reason why I tend to like this style of bot is because there's usually a fundamental reason behind it. So opening range breakout, like the Wall Street Killer, was quite simply that US 30 tends to fly at the market open. And that bot did really well because there is periods of times where the Wall Street Killer or any sort of opening range breakout bot does phenomenally well. Like right now, my time bomb bots are absolutely crushing it because we're currently in just a market regime where the Dow, for instance, tends to fly at the open. And Wall Street Killer had some challenges because after Trump got elected, a lot of spreads were widened by the brokers momentarily as they were trying to assess the risk. So kind of a good learning for myself and for pretty much everybody is if your broker's all of a sudden 10xing those spreads during a particular week, don't try and run any scalpers. Like take your scalpers off and do more of a swing trading approach. That's something you can usually tell, right? If you actively monitor your bots, if you see IC markets, which usually has a fairly low spread, is 10xing it, maybe something's going on. So anyway, to dive into this one, I think it's also a price action based bot. As the name would suggest, Pivot Killer. It's likely based on pivot points. If I were to guess, and we'll dive into it, there's going to be pending orders placed at highs and lows on a certain amount of candles for gold. This strategy works. It actually works really well. Like I developed a bot in the past called Golden Sniper, which traded on this style too. Pretty much you just look for a candle where it's like a local high, local low. So it's the highest candle and there's 10 candles on each side or 5 candles on each side. And then you define that as a local high. You place a pending order there. And when price comes back up to it, you simply quickly scalp a quick profit. This can work really well during a trending market regime, and right now gold is trending super well, so most likely this is indeed going to work. And this can work if it's trending up and or down. So it's not a bidirectional, it's not a unidirectional strategy. It can work well either way. However, where this really hurts you is if you start to enter more of a ranging regime, these bots can get pretty nasty because you can just kind of go touch the top and then reverse and touch the bottom and then touch the top, and you can have multiple losers in a row. So that's why I personally stopped developing bots with this style, but many people have developed it with this style very successfully. So it's a real strategy, it's a good strategy, and it's worked for decades. So there's clearly something here. Essentially what we're looking at is running on the H1, and he says once again, like it's not a get rich quick scheme, it's a long-term capital compounder, and he's saying you should use fairly modest amounts of risk, and he's saying that yes, breakout system, volatility pivot detection, no grid, no martingale, you can use it with prop firms. And a cool thing that he's done is he's also really built up a ton of Monte Carlo simulations, which are good because it means that he's tested the robustness of the parameters. Just because like quite often you'll see people curve fit to a very specific path, particularly with grids, like they'll run a gajillion trials over the backtest and they'll pick the perfect settings. But had you just permuted the trade slightly, perhaps your bot would have gone kaboom, right? You have to be very, very mindful of that. Whereas this is not a grid bot, so it's less relevant to do that, but still it's good to show like what happens in the worst case scenario had the order of the trades been mixed up. So overall, it looks pretty solid. The signals are just too new to really tell us anything. There's not really anything going on here. He has a live account with Capital Point. He also has one with DarwinX. But overall, it's looking pretty solid. Like I think I know what it's doing. So now I took the liberty of running a back test here on ACY. And as you guys can see, it's a very nice looking equity curve. This one is showing roughly a 100% return over a 5.5% drawdown within a year. So at first glance, you might think, oh my God, that's completely unrealistic, but it's really not. And that's for one reason. He's only going long. So if we look and see that like here's only one short trade and there's 154 long trades. So I think he's primarily, or maybe he's not blocking shorts, but it could just be that he needs to be there could be a trend filter or something on it which is preventing it from taking shorts in an uptrend. And because gold has been trending so strongly, any sort of breakout system on gold has done like ridiculously well the past year. Like our golden longbow bot would have made like 300% or something. Golden Reaper by Whim has been crushing it too. So given the current like market environment we've been in, these returns are pretty realistic. Like you can expect to see, like if gold trends in a straight line up, if you take a breakout system which is buying like upside breakouts, is going to make a crazy amount of money in a backtest. If gold were to start ranging for 2 years, then something like this would probably be a little bit trickier. But the actual backtest doesn't look unrealistic given the market regime we're in. So as long as we're in some sort of trending up or down regime, I do think this could be quite a profitable system. It could be a very, very good system actually. So trading schedule, there's a few time filters, there's a few basic filters. So overall, it's actually looking very solid for this market environment. Put my head back here. There we go. So if gold is trending up or down strongly, a breakout system which uses a trailing stop loss is going to be very profitable. The one thing to note is that if you believe gold is going to go up or down with volatility for the next year, you most likely could make great use of this bot because it's pretty cheap. It's $250. Like realistically, you can make that in 2 trades or 3 trades if you just catch a nice trend, right? So given that, you're probably going to earn a return on your investment relatively quickly, provided the regime changes. If all of a sudden gold decides to move sideways, I'd probably remove the bot just because this style doesn't work as well during those phases. And honestly, we do that for our own bots too at Prosperity Algo. We tell people like, hey, the market's trending or the market is not trending right now. If something is moving sideways, running a breakout system is pretty challenging on it. Oh, let's see. I'm just trying to look for pending orders. There we go. Yeah, he's placing pending orders, as expected. There's pending orders at local highs, local lows. He's going to be using a trailing stop loss. I can almost guarantee it. And oh, okay, it's a loss. Yeah, I know the strategy. It works. It works really well. Okay. He is trading a higher risk reward mode, which is actually pretty cool. There we go. Let me just see, buy stop canceled, order modified, and if we look at the history, yeah, okay, cool. This is very, very clearly like a breakout system with a trailing stop loss on gold. This works. It's a tried and tested strategy. Many people have done it before. It works very well. He's kind of being a little bit unique in that he's using more of a higher risk reward, which is kind of unique for a breakout. It's actually better because it's going to be way less spread sensitive. So it's a classic bot, and he's done a very good version of it. So I think it's solid. Like, it's a good bot. I quite like it. The one thing to note is that it's looking really good because this was a trending time. Let's perhaps stop it momentarily and run a quick back test now from 2020. And if we run, I'll just be in the interest of time, I'll run it here quickly with 1 minute open, high, low, close, just so we can see what it would look like. As you can see, like, we're probably going to have some, the good thing is it's not like collapsing or anything during these bad phases. Keep in mind it could be more accurate if we used every tick based on real ticks, so you probably want to test that yourself. But the main thing I want to see is if we run it during a period which is not as amazingly good for gold, what happens? Because everything will make money if something goes straight up. It's not really rocket science at that point. Let's just keep running it here for another 30 seconds, because you can still see that during these choppy periods, it's not making the 200% return, it's making a 40% return, which makes a lot more sense given the regime. And then most likely, as soon as we kind of hit the trend, it's going to start like exploding upwards. And that would also make total sense to me just because of the strategy. But seeing this kind of performance in a bad regime for gold is actually very good, because it means that it's not like insanely sensitive to spreads and slippage, etc. It's not insanely sensitive to only having the perfect market environment. It's probably not overfit. So it does show that he has put some thought to kind of making it robust. And at the same time, so yeah, like guys, we can see that we're gonna have some parabolic growth here in a few seconds. I don't think we necessarily even need to wait to see that, because it makes sense, right? We had that choppiness, and then when we hit the trend, it's just like shooting up, and that kind of explains why we have that insane performance. Yeah, okay, it's gonna go way up from here. I think you guys get the point. Essentially, it's a great strategy, makes sense, it works. Just be careful if we enter a choppy period. However, as long as gold keeps generally being volatile for the next year, I'm sure you'll be able to make probably a very good purchasing decision here just because it works really well in this style of regime. So guys, hope you enjoyed my video, and I will see you in the next one.